Ah, Disney, a name that means blockbuster entertainment. But what if I told you that in 2011, Disney released a film so disastrous, so fundamentally broken, that the company has practically scrubbed it from its own history? This wasn't just a flop, this was a catastrophe. A movie made with a staggering $150 million budget that became one of the biggest box office bombs of all time. It was supposed to be the glorious next step in the evolution of animation, a showcase for a groundbreaking, incredibly expensive new technology. Instead, the failure of this one film is a story about what happens when ambition goes unchecked, when technology overshadows story, and when a studio completely misunderstands what makes a movie feel alive. This is the story of Hollywood's greatest cautionary tale, and the movie Disney wants you to forget. This story begins with the promise of a revolution spearheaded by one of Hollywood's most innovative directors, Robert Zemeckis. Apologies if I butchered that name. The mind behind timeless classics like Forrest Gump and Back to the Future, Zemeckis had become obsessed with the potential of performance capture, or mocap. He had already experimented with it on The Polar Express, creating a distinct, if slightly unsettling, visual style. His dream was to perfectly translate every nuance of a real actor's performance onto a digital character, effectively erasing the line between live action and animation. To chase this ambitious vision, Zemeckis partnered with Disney to launch Image Movers Digital, a cutting-edge studio built in 2007 for one purpose: to make performance capture blockbusters. It was an audacious and wildly expensive gamble. They envisioned a pipeline of hyper-realistic animated films, combining Zemeckis' technical wizardry with Pixar's beloved storytelling. Image Movers Digital was unlike any other animation studio. Instead of artists at computers, its sets resembled live-action sound stages. Actors donned suits covered in sensors, performing on minimalist sets as an array of cameras captured their every movement and facial twitch. This data was then mapped onto animated characters. The process was astronomically expensive, requiring not just the tech, but full sets, seasoned actors, and props, a far cry from the more contained world of traditional CGI filmmaking. The studio's first major release under Disney was A Christmas Carol in 2009. Starring a digitally replicated Jim Carrey, the film performed respectably at the box office. But behind the scenes there were warning signs. With a budget estimated between $175 and $200 million, its profitability was questionable, and it's estimated to have lost the studio anywhere from $50 to $100 million. More importantly, critics and audiences noticed a distinct coldness in the characters' eyes, a deadness that the technology couldn't seem to overcome. But Zemeckis and Disney pressed on, believing they were on the cusp of perfecting the formula. All they needed was the right project to prove their massive investment was about to pay off. They chose a quirky children's book called Mars Needs Moms. This adaptation was supposed to be the film that would finally validate their motion capture dream. Instead, it was the film that would bury it, and the entire studio along with it. In Mars Needs Moms, a young boy, Milo, is tired of being told what to do. As such, he has a fight with his mom, she's abducted by Martians, and he stows away on their spaceship to rescue her. The problems began with the very technology that was supposed to be its greatest strength. The film plunged deep into the uncanny valley, that unsettling feeling viewers get when an artificial character looks almost, but not quite, human. The characters in Mars Needs Moms were textbook examples of this phenomenon. Their skin had a waxy sheen and their movements felt unnaturally robotic. Critics and audiences described the visuals with words like unattractive and dead-eyed. This was amplified by strange creative choices. The main character, Milo, is a 9-year-old boy. Yet, he was physically performed via motion capture by Seth Green, an actor who was in his 30s at the time, while a child actor provided the voice. The result was a bizarre hybrid character that felt disconnected and difficult for audiences to relate to. Beyond the creepy visuals, the story and characters were fundamentally flawed. Milo begins the film as a whiny, unlikable brat. He is supposed to have a redemption arc, but he regrets his harsh words to his mother almost immediately after he says them, leaving no room for genuine growth. His climactic apology feels unearned because he never goes on a true transformative journey. The supporting cast fared no better. Milo's mother is little more than a generic damsel in distress, while Milo's sidekick Gribble is more obnoxious than funny. Gribble's tragic backstory is revealed so abruptly that his sudden transformation from a cynical loner to a heroic ally feels rushed and unbelievable. In a baffling violation of storytelling fundamentals, it's the supporting characters who undergo the most noticeable changes, while the protagonists mostly remain static. The villain, known only as a supervisor, is a one-dimensional tyrant motivated by a vague desire for control, also lacking any compelling depth. The film's tone was a complete mess. The central plot involves Martians kidnapping murders to extract their momness using a machine that kills them in the process. A disturbingly dark concept for a family movie. The Martian society also features grim gender stereotypes. The film was also too frightening for young children, but too simplistic and bland for adults, resulting in a joyless narrative that failed to connect with any demographic in a true way. As the March 2011 release date approached, the signs of trouble were impossible to ignore. Disney's marketing team struggled to sell a film with unsettling character designs and a confusingly dark tone. Negative buzz was already circulating online. It wasn't just bad, it was a historic disaster. On March 11, 2011, Mars Needs Moms opened in over 3,000 theaters and debuted in 5th place with a catastrophic $6.9 million. For a film with a $150 million production budget, such a low opening was a death sentence. Anything less than a massive debut meant it had little to no chance of ever breaking even. The competition made the failure even more stark. The number one film that weekend was Battle Los Angeles, and in second place was Rango, another animated feature. But where Mars Needs Moms was cold and uncanny, Rango was praised for being vibrant, witty, and visually inventive. It would go on to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature that year. Word of mouth for Mars Needs Moms was brutal. It received poor scores from both critics and audiences, with most people echoing the same complaints. The characters looked creepy, the story was dark and depressing, and the movie simply wasn't fun. By the time it was pulled from theaters, it had earned a dismal $39 million worldwide. Factoring in its budget and significant marketing costs, Disney's total loss was estimated to be as high as $144 million, cementing its legacy as one of the biggest box office bombs in movie history. The fallout was swift, though Disney had seen the writing on the wall. Citing economic realities, the company had announced Image Movers Digital would be shut down 1 year before the movie's release. The film's catastrophic performance just validated that decision, shuttering the studio and ending Disney's expensive performance capture experiment for good. This disaster, along with other high-budget flops like John Carter and The Lone Ranger, pushed Disney toward profound risk aversion. The era of gambles on original, high-concept ideas was over. In its place, the company pivoted to a safer, more profitable strategy, mining its own IP for live-action remakes, sequels, and interconnected franchises. Why risk another Mars Needs Moms when a guaranteed hit was already in their library? But the downfall of Mars Needs Moms might have been averted with some changes. Alright. Gloves. Scalpel. Let's operate. So, how could this have been avoided? The problems run deep, but they aren't unfixable. A few surgical changes could have saved it. First, fix the protagonist. Instead of an unprepared, naive child trying to survive on Mars, make Milo an adult astronaut who dreams of flying to Mars. The conflict is immediate and more believable this way. NASA won't approve the mission. His own colleagues say none of them are ready. When his mother is abducted, his unsanctioned rescue mission carries bigger stakes. It grounds the sci-fi logic. Of course he has a spacesuit. This also opens the door for genuine technical drama related to the suit's functionality, oxygen levels, and other gear failing in the hostile Mars environment. If the writers were in this scenario, maybe they could have written Milo so that he hijacks the spacecraft during a moon launch or something and flies it to Mars. A plot like that would have opened the door to so many believable possibilities. Second, perform a character operation on Gribble. In the film, he goes from telling Milo, "No, you can't save her," to, "Okay, let's go save her," in a heartbeat.
My mom's running out of time, Gribble, let's go!
No, come on. It can't be done. Did you see what happened up there? I didn't know what that machine was going to do to her. I'll never see my mom again. No, you don't have to worry about that. It's not gonna happen. Not this time. Not to you. We're gonna go up there and we're gonna go get your mom.
Instead of that, his change needs to be gradual. Don't have a sudden flip. Instead, have Gribble witness Milo's training and determination firsthand in Mars' hostile environment and closely guarded Martian facilities. Over time, Milo's drive could trigger flashbacks for Gribble, slowly revealing his own tragic backstory with his mother and the Martians, building to a final, emotional payoff in his subplot. The story structure should also have been rewritten. The lore about past Martian civilizations could be introduced much earlier, making it a key piece of information that comes in handy later, rather than an exposition dump that feels out of place. Finally, the dialogue is painfully on the nose. Lines like these make the movie less enjoyable and imaginative.
I shouldn't have said what I said, should I? Wasn't a good thing to say. I feel really bad about it. Oh, what I said, but I was wrong. And I do want her.
Oh, and the most obvious fix. It should never have been a motion capture film. Making it live-action, traditional 2D, or standard 3D animation would have instantly solved the uncanny valley problem, eliminating the unnatural character movements and ridiculously expensive budget that doomed the film from the start. The story of Mars Needs Moms serves as a powerful cautionary tale for the movie industry. It's a stark reminder that technology must always be a tool to serve the story, not the other way around. When the relentless pursuit of innovation results in a soulless product that fails to create an emotional connection, disaster is inevitable. The film's failure didn't just lose an astonishing amount of money, it shuttered the studio and fundamentally altered the creative strategy of the world's largest entertainment company. So do you think the motion capture technology was the main problem, or was the story doomed from the start? Let me know in the comments down below. Mars Needs Moms stands as a monument to unchecked ambition. It is the story of a studio that became so infatuated with its own technology that it forgot the most basic rule of filmmaking. You have to give the audience a reason to care. The characters were unsettling, the world was grim, and the story lacked the essential heart that defines every great family film. It was less a movie and more a hollow technical demonstration. Disney learned its lesson the hard way, and the ghost of Image Movers Digital continues to haunt the industry. A silent warning against betting the house on a revolution that nobody was asking for. The ultimate irony is that in a quest to create the most realistic animated humans ever seen, the filmmakers created something that felt profoundly and unforgettably inhuman.